Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial on Windows Phone game development using the XNA platform. I'm going to be covering pretty much the whole end-to-end process of creating a game for Windows Phone. This tutorial is aimed at kind of intermediate level programmers, so if you're really advanced you're probably not going to learn anything, but if you're just starting out programming, it might be a little on the advanced side. I'm going to kind of skip over a few basic programming things. So if you're somewhere in between, this is going to be good for you. So in today's video, I'm going to be running over a few things. Firstly, the game that we'll be creating in the tutorial, the reasons we're creating that game, the tools that you'll need to actually develop for Windows Phone, where to get them, how to install them, and all that. And then we'll get started actually creating the project and taking a bit of a tour of all the things that are involved in a Windows Phone XNA game application. Okay, so the game that we're going to be creating is a clone of the classic MangoLander game. This was an arcade game that was brought out, I think, sometime in the 70s, so it's pretty old now, but we're going to be putting our own modern spin on it. I just wanted to show the actual game for those of you who haven't seen it, give a bit of an overview, show you what it's all about. So this is JSLander. It's a pretty true, I guess, homage to the original game. It has the concept of fuel, so you start off with a certain amount of fuel as well, okay, let me just start over. So you're this little guy up here, you're a lunar lander, and you have a single rocket that you need to use to guide your lander down to these little platforms, and you can see they have 1x and 5x and 3x, so depending on how difficult the platform is, you can get more points, and as you use your rocket you burn up fuel. So pretty simple. Let's play a quick game. You'll see that there's like a little jet coming out of the back of this thing. I can make it stronger or weaker, and I can also rotate which way I'm facing. So I'm gonna quickly guide this in here. The issue is you have to get it in to land as softly as you can, which is probably not going to happen for me right now. I think if you come in faster than 6 velocity, something like that, then you end up dying. And anyway, so you can see up the top top left there, my fuel is dropping down, and yeah, I'm trying to land this thing. Oh, taking off now. Anyway, you get the idea. The point is to land, and if you have enough fuel, take off and land on another one. Oh, hard landing, so I didn't score so well there. Okay, so that's the basic idea. You have a lunar lander, you have a rocket, you have fuel that you have to worry about, and you have to land on these platforms. So that's the basic concept. Now, as for actually creating our games, we need to use the free Visual Studio Express tools for Windows Phone. The link for this site will be down in the description below, or you might be able to see it up here. Basically, it's a free download, and you can create not just games, but any kind of app for Windows Phone. And it includes an emulator, which basically means that you can see exactly what you're creating without actually having to own a Windows Phone, which is quite cool. So I'm not going to show the actual install process here. Once you have it installed, you will be able to open up from the start menu a Visual Studio application, and it looks something like this. And here we are. This is Visual Studio 2010 Express for Windows Phone, and this is where we're going to be creating the bulk of our game. So let's jump straight in here and go to New Project, and you're presented with a list of project types. We're going to choose Windows Phone Game and give it a name. So Mango, for those of you who aren't following, is the latest update for the Windows Phone platform as of October 2011. Basically, they added a whole bunch of new features, and I really love it, and it's really cool. And so we're going to create our game and call it MangoLander as an homage to both LunarLander and the Windows Phone Mango update. Go ahead and hit OK and choose the target phone OS version. Of course, Mango is 7.1, so that's what we're going to be targeting. Hit OK, and you'll see a bunch of files created in the right hand side under the Solution Explorer here. We don't have to worry too much about properties, references, or content references right now. Just know that content references is where we link this MangoLander project to the MangoLander content project. You can see that MangoLander content appears in the content references. We also have 3 image assets here. These are just for the icon of our game and a number of other things. You can check those out yourself if you like. And then finally we have game1.cs and program.cs. I'll show you program.cs first. It's a very small file, and essentially this is just one of those things that will live in your project all the time and you'll never have to touch it. Essentially all it does is it actually runs the application if you're running it on Windows or Xbox, which we are not, of course. So essentially this file does nothing for our application, but you should leave it there anyway. Finally we have game1.cs here. And this is where the bulk of our code is going to live initially, the bulk of the stuff that we write. So if you're familiar with object-oriented programming, you know that we break our program up into logical pieces, and we call those pieces classes. So this game1 class here it basically represents the whole of our game, and then within that we're going to create other classes. So for example, we're going to be creating a class for our LunarLander. Within this class you'll see a bunch of strange looking code that if you read the comments, this is what a comment looks like, these sections here. The comments are actually very descriptive and they kind of tell you what's going on, so I suggest you read through all this, but we're not going to do that right now. Let me just skip to the MangoLander content. So when we add images like say an image of our LunarLander or an image of the landscape or say sound effects, things like that, those things are all going to live in MangoLander content. And as I said earlier, the Visual Studio tools for Windows Phone include an emulator, so we can actually run our game right now and see what it's going to look like on the phone. So come up to the top here and you'll see a little drop down, Windows Phone emulator. We could choose to use a device if we had a device. I do actually have a phone, but we're not going to use that for now. I may show some video of it later on once we have the game a little more developed, but for now we're just going to use the emulator. And then you hit this little green play button here. It does some work in the background and you'll see this window pop up, which is the emulator itself. So this loads up and then your game is transferred across and you'll see this nice little blue rectangle here, and this is actually what our game is doing right now. It's displaying this blue rectangle, and the cool thing is basically every single pixel on this phone, you have to tell it what to do. So this blue color is actually coming from somewhere, and it's coming from somewhere that you can change and you can see, and I'm going to show you that right now. So to stop the emulator, you go back to Visual Studio and you hit this blue stop button, and we're going to jump into game1.cs and we're going to look through here, and right down the bottom is this protected override void draw method. And you'll see within the draw method that we are calling the clear method on our graphics device. And within this clear method we are passing color.cornflowerblue, and that's where that blue color is coming from. And so we can actually come in here and change this color to something else. I don't know what looks good. Dark salmon, that should be quite different. And then we save it and we hit play once more and we go back to the emulator, and lo and behold, there's a salmon color on our screen. So straight away we're seeing that changes in the code directly affect what appears on the screen. I'm going to stop debugging again for now, and I think that's where we're going to stop for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Next time we'll be going into how we actually represent our lunar lander within the game. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time.